don't heal too well. There's not enough blood flow. You're better off doing the gas drop or something further. It's 26 to 3 at Smart Arts with Yianni Johns, and I think we'd better get straight into it, Yianni, because we've once again got an action-packed program, and we're going to a brilliant composer. A brilliant composer first up. We're going to have a little listen. Chris Sainsbury's music, and I've got a track here, which is track number 1, isn't it?
Track number 6.
Track number 6. All right, we're going to have a little listen to a song called Labyrinth, which is. Give me 2 CDs here. I've got the wrong one. So you talk to Chris while I get the right music.
Chris, tell me a little bit about yourself as a composer. Would our listeners have heard you?
In the local orchestral context, I think so, yes.
Yeah.
Broader than that, I'm not sure, but I've lived on the coast for, well, pretty much all my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I've worked with the local orchestra under Chris Bierman
we love Chris.
Philip Reese,
Yep.
And both have conducted my works with them and their groups over the last 20 years.
And in what area are you like a Philip Glass, or you or a little bit more contemporary?
Interesting question. You know, music is easily boxed into styles. I suppose I'm eclectic, but my position, I suppose, aesthetically, if you like, is that I'm a more of a tonal composer. Some elements of modernism, some elements of experimental music. I think quite listenable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I draw inspiration from, one piece that was commissioned by the local orchestra was a symphonic work using a local bird call.
Oh, yeah.
And a more recent piece is a piece drawing on natural sounds as well.
Well, I think we played the Bird Call Symphony on the air the other day. It was really lovely. I do have this ready to go now. Horizons with the Queensland Philharmonic.
Yes,
what can you tell us about this piece?
That's an earlier work from actually 1986 when I first started in this orchestral game. So it gives a bit of a picture where I've kicked off from and where I'm going to.
That's fabulous.
92.5 ABC Central Coast at Smart Arts with Yianni Johns, looking at the local arts, entertainment and cultural scene, and we're getting through a bit some beautiful music here, and this is we were just talking about it while it was going with Chris, the composer, Chris Sainsbury. I guess this hasn't really changed since the symphony orchestra started. It's just that people in modern times write modern sound, but you're using the same instruments, aren't you?
Yes, yes. Certainly the symphonic orchestra, by about the time of Beethoven, I suppose, is pretty much the same kind of symphony orchestra we use now. A little bit more expanded on the percussion, maybe 3-wind instead of 2-wind these days, but there's some expansion on the instruments. And in that piece, for instance, there's vibraphone. Of course, that wasn't around in Beethoven's time. No.
And you write for a particular orchestra, or you write a complex piece and the orchestra will say, like the New England Philharmonic, who I would assume would be very, very good, say, yeah, we can handle Chris Sainsbury stuff. It's a bit complex, but we can do it. Is it sort of the orchestra finds your piece, or you write the piece for the orchestra?
Well, actually, with that piece you're referring to there, I entered a piece in a composer competition in North America and I won. So coming up trumps was pretty rewarding, and the New England Philharmonic in Boston performed one of those pieces late last year, and as you mentioned, they're pretty good. You know, they're a very fine orchestra, and what was really pleasing for me is that they liked my stuff. They thought it was well written, and the players could get their teeth into something. The audience liked.
Do you have much input with the final music? Like, because everyone's got their own creative bias on things, and do you sit there going, "Oh, that idiot! That's not the way I wanted to play"?
Not really.
No?
I'm a little more gentle than that.
See, I wouldn't.
But a conductor generally asks you along to the last couple of rehearsals, and says, okay, you know, have your input, pull me up if there's any points you need pulling up. And in that rehearsal, I kept pulling the fellow up, actually, and because he said, open slather, Chris, you know, so I had a few occasions.
And did you hear the difference when you'd given your input?
Yeah, you hear a difference if you can't hear what the harp was doing, for instance, or the second oboe or something, and you say, look, we really need more of them.
Up in the mix, yeah.
Up or others down is more the case, usually.
It's amazing, isn't it? Because there's no way to do that other than the skill of the player with symphonic music.
Yeah, and the conductor, you know, they're reading the different dynamic indications on the music score.
You down, you up sort of thing.
So, you know, they've got an interpretation happening, but the composer's interpretation is always a little bit different than the conductor's interpretation, so you have to negotiate there on the floor.
And what's the latest for Chris Sainsbury?
Well, at the moment, my inspirations are returning to a local base in a big way, and to the first instruments that I ever learned, which was guitar and piano. Yeah. So I'm doing a piece for 2 pianos, and that's on photography work, large photographs by a friend who's a lecturer in photography at Wagga Wagga. Yeah. So the 2 pianos sort of represent where I've come from learning piano, and one of them is specifically an out-of-tune piano, because that's what we're exposed to in the local town halls and what have you. Yeah, I love that. We grow with those instruments, so I think it's worthwhile bringing those inspirations that you know, engendered so much music in me.
So you haven't spent a lot of time in that.
For us to hear the piano at home, it's Christmas time with your drunken auntie. Yeah. Who's had too much sherry, and I always thought it might have been her rather than the piano. But quickly, we're going to play one. We've got so much to get through. I'd love to spend hours with you, Chris. I mean, we could just talk and play because you've got such a body of work now. Here you are just playing the guitar. This is from one of your albums.
Yes, that album is Anima, and it's
which song could we play?
Solo guitar record. Number 6 is Labyrinth, and it's just a fast and crazy little piece in Lydian mode, and it's available through my website, Sainsbury Music.
Excellent.